My wife constantly insults my cooking and eats microwave garbage instead, so I told her she can stick to her hot pockets because I'm done cooking for her, and now she's saying I should just try harder. Me, 39M, and my wife Jennifer, 37F, have been married for 8 years and we have 2 children together. I work full-time, and Jennifer is a stay-at-home mom. She's a wonderful mother to our children, but one thing that she does not like to do is cook. This works out just fine for me, as I generally get off work by 4:30 or so, and I happen to be a phenomenal cook. My father was a chef, and I've been cooking since I was 10 years old. I also worked as a line cook for several years. Virtually everyone loves my cooking. When we have company, it gets rave reviews. Our children always ask for seconds. I put a lot into it, and I take a lot of pride in my cooking skills. The only person who doesn't like it is Jennifer. She complains endlessly. Too salty. Too much pepper. This is undercooked. She also backseat cooks a lot, where I'll be in the kitchen making something, and she won't shut up about what I should be doing differently. The worst part though is that she'll frequently insult my cooking and then go get garbage like a Hot Pocket or a frozen dinner from the freezer. Last Wednesday, I made Salisbury steaks with mushroom gravy, cream cheese mashed potatoes, and roasted asparagus. When I put Jennifer's plate in front of her, she made a disgusted face. She poked at her Salisbury steak for a few seconds and took the tiniest bite imaginable. She then made an exaggerated retching sound, dramatically threw her fork on the plate, and went to heat up a microwave burrito. I just snapped. I didn't say anything at the time because our children were there, but I was completely done. The next day, I made teriyaki bowls with broccoli. My wife sat at the table waiting for hers, and I nicely informed her that I was done cooking for her. When she asked why, I told her it's a waste of food, and that she should just go have a Hot Pocket. She's furious that I won't cook for her, and she says that instead of giving up, I should try a bit harder. I think she should just subsist on whatever microwavable slop she likes and stop complaining. Did I escalate too much here? Edit, thank you for the comments. Unfortunately, people are sending me harassment through private messages, and many of these people come from the same community that has cross-posted this multiple times. I'm going to abandon this Reddit account, although in the unlikely scenario that I post an update, I may use it again. I'm just exhausted from reading comments about how I'm supposedly a terrible father for not making the right food for my children and how my wife must be right about my cooking. I am no longer reading responses and DMs. Relevant comment, you're not the jerk here. She created this dynamic. Just make sure you and your babies are fed. She doesn't deserve your food, especially since she's being negative on purpose. OP, one thing that I take very seriously is how my boys eat. My wife and I are very fortunate to be able to afford good ingredients, so I spent probably more than necessary on food for them. I grew up really poor and had no choice but to eat garbage that was in the house, and I'll do anything possible to never go back to that life. Also, my older boy says he always looks forward to his lunchbox at kindergarten, so I take a lot of pride in that. It makes my days. Update, 44 days later. About a month ago, I posted here about something that happened over dinner one night. I was hesitant to update because for some reason beyond my understanding, I received about a dozen hate-filled direct messages after my last post. They were all being sent from users of a parody community of this. I have no idea what I did to make so many people upset, but a lot of people have asked me for an update, so I figured I'd give one. Anyway, the last month has been really eye-opening for me. I had long ago noticed that my wife was highly critical of my cooking, but over this time, I've come to realize that she's really critical of just about everything that I do. For example, 2 weeks ago, I was walking outside with her. I'm pigeon-toed, and have been ever since I was a baby, although it's a lot better now. Jennifer asked why I was walking with my toes slightly pointed in, and when I explained to her that I'm pigeon-toed, she responded in a sort of irritated tone. Why don't you just try walking with your feet straight? Yes. Thank you. My literal bone issue was just magically cured by your advice. I never realized that the problem to something I have suffered from for nearly 40 years was staring me right in the face. At least now if I know I ever get cancer, I can just get rid of it by deciding not to have cancer. You see, I never really noticed how critical she is towards me on virtually everything I do. She's just more forward about my cooking. For example, when she walks into my home office, she always scrunches up her face in this really displeased way. I don't think she likes the interior, which I designed, because she wants nothing but white and gray in every room in the house. Whenever I try to do the laundry, she'll hear me open the washing machine door and beeline over to backseat me through the whole process. This is coming from a woman who once ruined a $1,500 suit of mine because she thought bleach would be the perfect stain remover. By the way, when I was explaining an issue I had with my colleague to her, she took my colleague's side despite her being objectively in the wrong from an industry standpoint. My wife was adamant though. I must have been the one to screw things up. I'm honestly just exhausted. The criticism of my cooking was the worst, yes, but it really just overshadowed everything else she always found fault with me on. I tried to have a conversation with her, and naturally she denied doing anything of the sort, denied ever being rude to me, and even denied retching at my food. She actually tried to gaslight me here. She kept asking me questions like, when did I do that? Tell me the date. Then she called me a hypocrite for being critical of her, hijacked the conversation, and eventually stonewalled me. I've come to realize that I don't really like my wife anymore, and I don't think she even likes me. She's just such a negative person. It makes me sad, but in the next few days I'm going to ask her for a divorce. She's not going to like it, but I've come to realize that when she walks into a room I am in, I get anxious about what she's going to say to me, and I just hate feeling this way. Thank you for all your comments. I also apologize if this was long-winded. My marriage is falling apart and I'm not in the best headspace right now.